Agents need memory. They need to remember you, your work. What if you're using a team of agents? Then you need shared memory because all the agents need to learn from a single source of truth. Human in the Loop starts now.
I'm ready to learn. You got me hooked, Sash. I'm ready. What's up, buddy?
Brother?
How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good. Good. How's your week been so far?
It's good, man. I feel like just trying to get my thoughts in order for what's to come. I've had some new like AI revelations that have changed some things. Like I don't know if I'm been in a manic state the last couple of days, but I feel like I got like 3 hours of sleep the night before last, and I was just dreaming about AI and woke up antsy, and that's the state of our podcast, man. This is like I am living and breathing what we talk about, man.
I hear you, dude. I can't sometimes when I'm problems like whirling around in my head and I don't sleep and I keep thinking, and it's almost like my brain lives in a terminal. But I'm excited about today. I've been working on this stuff for a while and it seems to be working good. You know?
Yeah, me too. I'm excited, man. I know you and I have talked a lot about like using Hermes with Claude Code, you know, using it. Is it a Hermes versus Claude Code? Is it where can we use them together? I know that like shared memory has been a constant, I don't want to say a sore thumb, because I think it is, but just a point of importance for anyone in the agentic world, and how that has evolved from like I feel like the OG Obsidian second brain. And I'm just excited about what you have talked about here, what you were doing, how that blend, and something that I'll be talking about in future episodes around like using Hermes to try to orchestrate Claude Code, Codex, other harnesses. But to your point of like, how does that memory stay persisted across multiple agents?
Yeah, and it sort of started with me trying to explore. You and I started with Claude Code. I was running Claude Code on 2 different machines. The first step was, hey, how do I synchronize my context files between these 2 machines?
Right.
And then I added an Hermes agent, which was running on a Linux virtual server. Then I had an old OpenClaw agent, which I revived on another virtual server. Now I got 4 agents, and how do I make sure they all know what I'm doing? Even if they're not communicating or I don't need them to communicate, they should be learning from the same kind of corpus of data. So I started looking at different kind of options available. Obsidian second brain is a common one that you said. Obsidian, you can create a vault, and Obsidian is great in driving relationship with simple MD files. So it basically creates like a graph structure. And it's important to understand why agents need this kind of data. That graph structure helps agent understand relationships between data points and gives them a path to find it. You need that structured sort of memory, persistent memory, basically is organizing your data for agents to find it. And that applies to people like us who are running multiple agents. You can blow that up to an enterprise situation where you have a common data platform with master data management in place, and then all agents can just read from that. What I have kind of built is kind of a compressed personal version of it. And so far it's been working well.
Yeah. Wait, so hold on a second. Are you telling me that the managers of people want their people to know what each other is doing and want to be able to learn from like a centralized knowledge store?
Yeah. Isn't that how it works?
Isn't that how it works? And that we should build agents to do the same thing? Man.
Basically. Hey man, look, you have a team or a business where you got marketing people, sales people, IT people. They all need to learn and know your vision, mission, services. Everything needs to come from one corpus of data. Same exact thing applies to agents. If you have, doesn't matter what harness you use or what model you use, the memory persistent data platform, if you want to call it, should be feeding all the agents the same information. So, like I said, I started kind of with basic file synchronization between 2 Macs. I got 2 Macs I had it was running Claude Code. One is a desktop Mac Mini, the other is a MacBook Air, so I can take the Mac with me. So I took my intelligence folder. It's one single folder where all files and folders are organized for Claude. I linked it up to a Git repo, and I was synchronizing that Git repo to 2 Macs. The challenge I was running in there was every time I finish this session, I have to remember or have a process that pushes the changes to the repo. And then when I start on the other Mac, I have to pull the changes from the repo. Yep. That was slightly manual, and sometimes if you forget, it gets tedious.
Yeah, or if you want to work from a different machine, right? Like you said, you're going on the road, and like I solve for that just by doing everything on one, right? But I don't think that's necessarily I don't want to say it doesn't scale or it's not the right approach. There's no right or wrong approach, right? But to your point of like, you were doing it multiple, so you needed a solution that worked for you. So keep going, man. I want to learn more.
Yeah, so in the diagram, if you see, the first step is the Git repository. This is the durable source of truth, and this is just MD files. This is a Git version of a single folder. This is my folder. I'll show it to you here, and it might come up a little slow, or small, but I have a folder called Intelligence. All stuff that I work on with Claude is in there. CLAUDE.md, it's organized into projects folders, and this is synchronized into Git. This is basically a common repository across 2 Macs.
Okay, and so this isn't so much like a Claude project, right? This is like a designed, shared context repo. Okay, cool.
Basically, and it's just MD files. And I have projects organized and according to stuff I work on, and some of these projects have Claude.md. So my course is a folder which has a Claude.md. Polsy is its own folder which has a Claude.md. So the agents have context to pull just in time. You don't have to load everything in there. Basically, this is the one that is synchronizing here into the Git repo. And it was working fine. Then you and I have been talking about Hermes. I spin up an Hermes agent and a Hostinger VPS. Now, how do I get that Hermes agent to learn about me? And then I was like, okay, maybe I should just sync the repo there. So first thing I did was I did a read-only sync into that VPS. So that Hermes agent didn't have any write permissions, but it could read. And I set up a sync job every 1 hour. So I'm working on the Mac, I'm making changes, pushing changes into the repo. Every 1 hour, it's syncing into the Hermes, so the Hermes agent is always up to date. You can read from it.
It's always up to date, but it's a bit limited in terms of what it can do, right? And that was by design, but I'm sure that there came some challenges or whatnot with that, right?
Like when I started using Hermes for more and more stuff, I realized, okay, I need a better retrieval mechanism. One, to find context fast. Second, I need the Hermes to write into that repo as well, because it's making changes that need to be available to my Claude Code on the 2 Mac. So I started looking for solutions, and 2 came up, like LLM Wiki, Karpathy's one came up. The second was gbrain. Gbrain is the open source repo designed by Garry, who's the founder of YC. And he started it as the persistent memory layer for his agents. Now gbrain can do company persistent memory. So you can have teams of people and agents.
Fantastic.
So
RIP SharePoint.
Basically, exactly. And so
the SharePoint killer might be finally among us, man. We'll see.
Yes.
Check back in 5 years.
There it is. Check back in 5 years. We'll see. You can use gbrain with SharePoint. That's kind of the idea too. Now, what gbrain is it's a semantic layer that sits on top of your data. Your data can be anything. Your data can be files. Your data can be SQL, whatever, tables, structured or unstructured data. And that semantic layer is using Postgres and pgvector. So it takes your data, chunks it up, puts it into a semantic layer, and then it has an API so agents can just pull from it. So I didn't know how to do any of this. I didn't know how to install.
How'd you figure it out, man? Did you just go to Google and like you found like a step-by-step thing that you clicked through, right? Or did you do something else?
No, I actually used Vista for this one, and it was kind of fun.
Shout out to my millennials out there who remember what that is. If you're under 40, just keep going. Just keep listening to what we're going to talk about next.
I think we just aged ourselves right now. But I asked Claude, man, what else would I do? I asked Nuro, and we figure out an architecture, and I handed it to the Hermes agent to set up. So Now, the Hermes VPS is basically a combination of Hermes and gbrain. And it's set up in a way that the sync and index process takes all, like, creates chunks out of my MD files in my Git intelligence Git repo. It parses it, it organizes the metadata, splits it into chunks, and loads it into the vector database. That becomes the gbrain. Now, it has usable chunks of data, and it also has an API layer. So once it's set up, and there's a sync process with indexes. As soon as new files come up in this repo, it's pulled into the index, it indexes it, chunks it, and dumps it into the gbrain layer. So that's up to date as and when I'm just working on context files.
So let me ask you this on this. So I guess I've been looking at this diagram, right, as like your V1, then to V2, then to V3. It sounds like what I'm hearing now that this isn't just like separate instances. This is like how it is currently moving today, right? This is how you start, and all these systems are in place. They're just building off of each other.
Exactly. So it started with V1. This was V1. What you see is the composite of V3.
Understood.
Right now.
Yeah.
And I work only with the MD file because that's what I'm creating content with.
Yeah,
and
you're human, right?
Yeah, exactly. And once those files are created, it gets synchronized up to the Git. And then the index process indexes them and puts it into the gbrain. Now, the advantage of gbrain here is, one, it is a semantic layer with an API, so agents can pull from it. With agents like Hermes and OpenClaw, you can set up hooks where it says pull from gbrain in case of a certain rules fire. Or you can just say, hey, every time I ask you something, we're going to start working on something, connect to gbrain and find the relevant context that's needed. And that's really useful, so you're not loading full MD files into the context window, because you and I talk about this. I think a part of your process is multiple sessions, and you have to clear context every session when you're doing long-running work. So you're not loading full pages, full files into context. Agent can go grab stuff that it needs in terms of chunks from gbrain, and if it needs to load more, it will load the full page from gbrain. So it's not
what
very,
you just said.
Yeah.
What you just said made me so excited about this, right? And I want to repeat it because I think it's incredibly critical to what you're talking about. When you use gbrain, what you said was, when I start working on something with an agent, that agent will go into gbrain and pull out the context that it needs for that task, as opposed to loading like a CLAUDE.md and a status.md and decisions.md and whatever way you have that working, or or go into your Karpathy LLM wiki and grab all of this. Like that, dude, that's massive, man. That's massive.
It is. So one of the things in the course I talk about, every agentic system needs three things to function. One is context, one is instructions, one is tools. Context in MD files is great, but having a and instructions can be separated from context in gbrain. Just what you mentioned, loading Claude.md, that will always get loaded in Claude Code. If you're using Hermes, then the agents.md, soul.md, that stuff is loaded. That's it. That's canonical instructions. But to work on specific things, it doesn't need to load additional MD files. It will go find the right information in gbrain, load the chunk. If it needs more, it can query it, find it, because that's the idea of having a semantic layer with an API. You can search it, you can query it, you can recall, and then you can load stuff that you need. And the beauty of it is, it has an MCP layer, so agents can connect. For example, Kyra I got 3 agents running on it. Nuro is my Claude Code running on 2 machines. That's reading from it. Now I have a hook which has it go to gbrain to find stuff. Blaze is a recent Hermes profile I enabled, and I'm starting a community for my course alumni. And Blaze has access to limited parts of the gbrain. It only has permission to read course-related stuff. So it doesn't have permission to read client stuff. It doesn't have permission to read other stuff, because then you can create role-based kind of permissioning of what you wanted to read. It doesn't ever need to go to my Git repo. The Blaze is purely working on its instructions and the gbrain stuff. And Kyra now is kind of the builder. It has access to the gbrain full read-write access, but only read access to the Git repo. Every time I work with any of these agents, I update this using Nuro. Nuro is the only person that I update the repo because this is where all the files go. So Nuro is the only one that has write access to this repo because that's my main kind of workhorse. And then it flows through this pipeline where Blaze and Kyra both get access to the information read-only from gbrain. Blaze can only read gbrain. Kyra can go and modify gbrain. So it's kind of like a layered. This is how you would build IT teams with people, right? You don't help desk people don't have admin permissions to your databases. Your engineers do. That's how you kind of build access to continually improve the system and give access to people. I keep saying people, the agents. And you give access to agents what they need to do the task. I'm like super excited about this because it's making Hermes a better agent. It's actually giving Nuro just-in-time context without having to load full files constantly.
My mind is blown, right? And I'm already like thinking about how I want to bring this in, and it feels like it will be a very native snap into my environment, right? Like Postgres is my main database. Everything that I do within the Grove is all stored into Postgres, like all of my captures, whether that's like email, Teams messages, text messages, Apple reminders, right? All of that gets stored in there, calendar events, work stuff, right? Journaling, everything. So I got pgvector. I don't think, no, we're not using Postgres for human in the loop. We're using CouchDB, but we are using an extension of Postgres with pgvector on top of that. So if you go to human-in-the-loop.stream, you can ask Echo stuff. Everything gets loaded into there. It's fantastic. And on top of that, I interact, and when I say I mean my agents interact with my database, which I call the forest, through an API layer. Right. So everything already goes in and out of an API layer. So I'm curious, like, have you messed around with that? Right. Like, will this stand up a whole new Postgres instance, a database? Like, can I essentially snap gbrain in to my existing pgvector Postgres and API layer? Do you know?
You can plug it in. Cool. It's set up to kind of run a free instance of Postgres pgvector. But you can plug it in. The best, like if you take this repo, this is the gbrain repo, and as you can see, it's fairly popular. 29,000 stars on Git.
Yeah, man.
It has been forked 4,300 times, and it's fairly customizable. Just give it to Hermes, and it will install it. Tell it what you need to point it to your own pgvector or Postgres instance. But the beauty is, it just works. It just works. Man. And with always on agents. And I think that's what even Garry 10, I think, mentions it here. Yeah, he says, I built gbrain to run my own AI agents. It's the production brain behind my OpenClaw and Hermes deployments. This is the size of his stuff. And it's built to scale. And it's just interesting. And it's interesting. And look at what he's ingesting in here. He's ingesting meetings, emails, tweets, voice calls, original ideas, all of it. Because this, if you configure the sync and indexing process first, now my source is just one Git repo. Your source could be anything. Your source could be anywhere you're interacting with data. You can have multiple sources too. This sync and index process is what enables all the information within gbrain. It's very customizable. It's very, very scalable, and it really works well. You know, your agents don't forget stuff. You don't have to re-explain constantly. Sometimes it doesn't find the right information if you're not organized properly.
And that's
but
the
if
index.
It's there, because
the index important.
That's the index, and index is important. How your own information is organized is important. But even if it can't find it, it's there. It's chunked in. It will get if we can go search it. So I love it, man.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do with this, right? Because not only am I going to bring gbrain in, but I want to follow your model. I'd like to think that stuff is relatively well indexed. Like I said, given that I'm using Postgres pgvector API layer today. But what I'm going to do once this episode airs, once we do the turnover thing to get everything up on the website, I'm going to go to our website and I'm going to grab the full transcription of this conversation, and I am going to save that as an MD file and pass it into Claude, or just tell Claude to go pull that and give it the URL and say, hey, here's the gbrain URL. I want to bring this in. Go pull this human in the loop script, right? Everything we talked about, the importance of indexing. And I'm going to run /brainstorming, which is a superpowers step 1 of the superpowers plugin for Claude, which not just for Claude, it's for any harness. It's fantastic. And say, hey, how do we incorporate gbrain? How do we set up indexing? What did Sash talk about? And that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, man. And it's not very complex to set up. I set up gbrain. I basically redid the Hermes harness, and I installed gbrain and Hermes package. The reason why I did that was I can maybe take that and replicate it into another VPS like that. Right. And if I want to fire up an agent or even an Hermes profile, by the way, Blaze is an Hermes profile running on the same VPS as Kyra, but it just has different
permissions
to go. Yep.
Two employees in the same department don't have access to the same data.
Exactly. That's the whole idea. Fascinating how this stuff has evolved.
Yeah, man.
It's fun to play with this stuff.
Let me ask you this, right? Like, let's say that someone is relatively new in their agentic world. They only have one agent. They haven't gotten into the multi-agent. Maybe they only use Claude. Maybe they only use Hermes. But like, really love this idea. Like, where would you recommend they get started? Is there like a smallest version of this that you would call like MVP? Nothing is always on yet, maybe. Again, just a very new to agentic, but like loves this concept, wants to snap into a single brain, persisted.
Let's say you're using Claude Code in the Claude desktop, or you're using OpenAI's Codex in the Claude Codex app. Just find the gbrain repo, give it to Claude Code or Codex. Now you are working off of some context, right? You're storing files, working on files, the content that AI is generating for you. Start there. See how you can get that up into gbrain and start installing the gbrain, and ask Claude to start using the gbrain. So Claude or Code or Codex, whatever you choose to get started with, will enable itself to go look for stuff in gbrain. And then once it comes alive, gbrain has to be installed somewhere, by the way, because it needs some binaries to run somewhere, right, and then it will connect. So wherever you're running Claude desktop or Codex, that's where it can run, and it will ask you to connect to or set up the pgvector and the Postgres database. But once that is done, your gbrain layer is alive. Then you can just start connecting more sources to it. You don't have to learn how to do this manually. Grab the repo link, give it to Claude or Codex, ask it to figure it out, ask it to ask you questions about what you want in terms of your persistent memory needs. And think about it in terms of, hey, Claude keeps forgetting this. I wanted to remember this. I want my client information or my project information available on the go, or if I want to start another computer with Claude Desktop, I should be able to pull from the same source of truth. Give it these kind of problems you're facing and have it figure out how to use gbrain for it. So yeah, and it's pretty awesome.
It's it sounds fantastic, right? I remember snapping into LLM Wiki as soon as I heard about it, and this just feels like the next evolution of that. Because again, it's getting out of Markdown, and it's getting into something persisted, and it's having that index layer, and it's having that semantic search on top of that. And for me, it already snapped the architecture that I use, so I love it even more, man. Good stuff, dude. What are we talking about? What are we talking about next week, Sash? I think we've got another guest coming back on, man.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. We have one of our colleagues from our Microsoft days, Eric Brown, who used to be a VR specialist, virtual reality specialist. Before that, he worked with me in financial services as a co-pilot, M365 specialist. Right now, he's a co-pilot specialist, and he's going to talk to us about co-pilot work and co-pilot agents in the enterprise. We're going to pick his brain around use cases, how to kind of approach it from personal productivity. And we're also going to talk to them about cost. How can an enterprise or business think about Copilot cowork credits, or how should they think about even using agents in the Copilot world? So I'm excited about that.
No, me too, man. I mean, and this is for clarity, right? Like Eric is talking to enterprise customers. He is helping position this value prop around where does this fit in to solve those problems that you are facing at enterprise level? Where is cost going to come into play? How can you kind of balance that? So if you're in the enterprise space and you're making some of these decisions for your team, your organization, your company, or you're just a builder who wants to better work with the tools that your company has given you, great stuff next week, man. Check it out.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to next week as well. Man, always a fun, brother. Always fun talking to you about this stuff.
Fun. Always fun, man. This is great stuff, man. I'm gonna I know what I'm gonna be doing the next couple of hours. Getting this wired up. So yeah, man. Good stuff, Sash. A pleasure, man. Catch you in a week. See you.
All right.